All right, let's jump right in. We're talking about a massive and, to be honest, a really unexpected geopolitical shift happening in the Middle East. According to our source material, an Iranian military operation has backfired so badly that it's sparking a diplomatic crisis, the likes of which we haven't seen for a long, long time.
So, this all brings up a really fascinating question, right? How on earth did Iran manage to unite so much of the Muslim world, but against itself? It's a huge strategic misstep, a real own goal, you could say. And today, we're going to dig into how our source material says this all went down.
So, first up, let's talk about this surprising alliance that suddenly popped up against Iran. You see, the backlash isn't just coming from the countries you'd expect, their usual rivals. The source material points to this incredibly wide and honestly kind of strange group of nations that are all speaking out.
And when you look at who's on this list, that's where it gets really interesting. Yeah, sure, you've got the Gulf states, that makes sense. But what's really turning heads, according to the source, is that even the Palestinian Authority, and get this, the Taliban in Afghanistan have put out statements condemning Iran. So we're not talking about a simple political spot here. This looks more like a whole region lining up on one side. So what kicked all this off? Well, it all started with a retaliatory military strike by Iran. The whole point was to look strong, a real show of force. But as the source material lays it all out, it ended up demonstrating, well, something completely different. The trigger was this massive missile and drone attack. Iran's stated goal was pretty straightforward. They wanted to hit American and Israeli military targets in the area, as payback. Simple enough, right? Well, that's not exactly how it played out. And this is where we get to the heart of the failure, at least according to the source. On one hand, you have the intention, cause real damage to the U.S. military. But on the other hand, you have the reality, a total swing and a miss. The attack just didn't hit its main target. Think about it. We're talking hundreds of missiles and drones flying through the air. And the result? Reports cited in the source say zero. Literally zero American casualties. It raises a huge question then. If none of that firepower hit the enemy it was supposed to, where did it all end up? And here's the answer. And it's where this whole story just pivots dramatically. Those missiles and drones did land. But they didn't land on military bases. They hit civilian sites, commercial buildings, in neighboring countries that were trying to stay out of it. And that, as you can imagine, caused a whole lot of damage and sparked massive outrage. So for example, the source points to one incident in Bahrain. An Iranian drone slammed into a high-rise apartment building. I mean, it doesn't get more civilian than that, right? And this isn't a country that was completely neutral in this whole thing. Okay, then there's Kuwait. Another strike reportedly hits a civilian airport there. Again, we're talking about crucial infrastructure for a neutral country, not some hidden military outpost. You're starting to see the pattern here, right? And to round it out, a third example from the source, a missile hitting a big hotel right in Dubai. And look, this is more than just a building. Hitting a hotel in Dubai is like taking a shot at the entire tourism and business hub for a major regional player. So you hit all these unintended targets. And the fallout is, well, immediate and intense. It triggered this incredibly fast, unified diplomatic reaction that's basically redrawing the math of alliances in the region. Just look at the statement that came out of Saudi Arabia. Now, remember, this is a country that had specifically said we're staying neutral. But after this, the source really zeroes in on this shift. They went from not our fight to saying they'll take all necessary measures to defend themselves. And that includes hitting back. I mean, that is a 180-degree turn. And this wasn't just tough talk either. Saudi Arabia backed it up right away. They opened their airspace completely and started sharing intel with the U.S. And at pretty much the same time, you have the UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Jordan, all of them putting their names on a joint statement slamming the attacks. It's wild. In just a few hours, Iran basically built a brand new coalition, united against them. So what's the big picture here? The argument from the source is that this one failed military attack caused a complete and total collapse of Iran's diplomatic position in the region. It's left them more alone, more isolated than they've ever been. So let's walk through how they got so isolated so fast. Step 1, they attacked the very countries that were trying to help them, the ones acting as mediators to calm things down. By doing that, they essentially burned their only bridge to de-escalation. And then you add in the fact that, according to the source, even their big allies haven't really stepped up to help.
Suddenly, you've got a picture of a country that's completely on its own. And really, that's the bottom line from the source material. With just one botched military operation, Iran managed to turn its friends, or at least its potential mediators, into active opponents. It's just a staggering diplomatic blunder, however you look at it.
Which leaves us with one last really big question. Is this all just a temporary flare-up? A short-term crisis that'll blow over? Or are we watching something much bigger, a permanent, fundamental change in who holds the power in the Middle East? And that, right there, is what everyone is now waiting to find out.